Some sun pillars coming off the mighty Wasatch this morning. Morning sun pillars. So I was standing right here 10 years ago today when this vicious cancer attacked my body like a wolf. And I want to talk, this is what we call the Fremont 500. They built a school way over there when 90% of their student body lives way over there, miles away. And one kid, one car. One kid, one car. You know, what's happened in the last, hyperinflation, consumption junkyism, freak show. You know, we don't even consider it. So I want to talk about cancer, leukemia, AML de Nuvo, caught 3 ducks, nice. It's the first 3 I've seen in a long time on the Great Flyway, this acute catastrophe. So this is, we call it the Fremont 500. They're going to school, one kid, one car, one kid, one car. As you can watch my videos over this 10-year nightmare, you can see the death of my yard, the scorched earth, this acute climate change caused by the Fukushima disaster. My pine trees, remember there used to be a whole bunch of them lined up out there? All died 2014, 2015. My dogs died. My neighbors, Carolyn, you know, she died of leukemia. Dean died of leukemia. They don't care. They just keep spraying radio around. Remember Bear Monsanto's going to settle with all the leukemia? Yeah, they are. So, let's talk cancer. I was standing right to this square inch when, it attacked me viciously. I had no symptoms. 0. You Google AML, leukemia, AML de Nuvo, all the symptoms you're supposed to have, loss of appetite, didn't have it. Rapid weight loss, didn't have it. Drop in libido, didn't have it. I didn't have any symptoms. The tumors wrapped around my lower bowel, and I want people to realize that AML de Nuvo, which is leukemia that can present tumors, is extremely radical and rapid. I remember a couple weeks earlier, I had felt a little tickle in my stomach, and I told my mom's passed away since. I told my mom that I felt a little tickle in my stomach. It was nothing. I saw the worst doctors in the world. I saw the best doctors in the world. Sun pillar on the mighty Wasatch. Wow, nice. First off, I want to say thank you. I'm very, very grateful to be alive. Very grateful. It's been a hell of a battle for 10 years. So, I'll be the first one, my doctor says, he knows of, probably in the world, to survive AML de Nuvo OS with a mark. My marker was 44. Once they finally figured it out, which they had it dead wrong for nearly a month. I went in the bone marrow transplant on 11/11/11. Between October 13th and 2011, I got abused by doctors like no other. I don't know how I'm alive. So I went to the emergency room. I was due to speak at Zuccotti that day. Talk about the timing. I had been on a picnic bench in Salt Lake and in Los Angeles, you know, leading up to what now is, well, the Occupy movement, which Kevin Blanch was so paramount in starting. It was called the Post-Ignorance Project. I'd been in New York for years, working it. It attacked my stomach. I got a vicious stomach ache. And I, just let it go. Finally, in the middle of the night, I started puking up blood and bowel movement out of my mouth. It was so nasty for me to call an ambulance. So the ambulance got here. They thought my appendix had ruptured, and I started to puke, so I calmed a little bit. I says, we'll follow you if you want to drive, because I says, I'll just drive, because I had no insurance. I got up there, and this doctor saw me, and Natalie Farr, who lived right over there, who is a gem of a person. She was my radiologist. I grew up with her, a couple years younger than me. They CAT scanned me, or they scanned me. The doctor obviously never read the scans. A quack from hell. He told me, he says, well, you obviously have an elevated white count, but I think it's just some food poisoning. Go home. So I went home. The next day, much worse. 2 days later, I went back to the same emergency room at McQuack-D. Nothing wrong with you. Sent me home again. So finally I went to That Friday, I went back again. I turned around, it's finally a female doctor, and I had a talk with her. I was watching the Steve Jobs interview about his death. He had just passed away with Isaacson, the book writer. I've been reading that book. This woman's gone for a long time. She finally looked at the scan. She come back with tears in her eyes. Says, you have a very nasty cancer in your body. It's wrapped around your lower bowel. You got tumors up through your right lower mesentery. It's bad. I have the oncologist on call right now. He's coming over. He's been reviewing it. That's what took so long. We're admitting you right now. So they admitted me. I get up there. There's the young oncologist. Just he and I. Friday. And now I know that most cancers are diagnosed on Fridays. Why? For the said reason. People know how bad emergency rooms are on weekends, so they get it done on Fridays. So I go in. He says it's bad. Come look at it. He had it on the screen right there on the computer. See that spot in your liver? Yeah. I think it's in your liver. What do you think? Don't lie to me. What do you think? I think it's bad. Just tell me. I think maybe you got 2 months to live. Said it just like that. Just like that. I'm like, whoa. So I call my daughter, both ones that live here. The middle girl, Cassandra, named after Cassie Gaines. She came up. This is important. A couple weeks before, I had this utopic dream. I had this dream that I was gambling. And I put some change in this slot machine, and it kicked out a voucher for $12. Just had a pocket full of change. I took it said 12.12. So I put the $12 in it, and it came up 4. These look like clams. 4 of them. Now I know that's cancer tumors. And it started spitting out money. $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, $1 billion, $10 billion, and I woke up, and it was the most utopic dream I ever had. And I know Danish philosophy and medicine. I held on to that dream. Get your rock out. Come on. There's one that I got. There's the other one. It's in here. One-man band Blanch after all these years. Yeah, well, alive and kicking. There's the other rock. There it is. My granddaughter gave me that in the bone marrow transplant. So, anyway, they admitted me. So, in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock in the morning, they come get me out of nowhere and going to scam me. This Dr. Taos. Oh, God, don't even get me going on that. Whoa, that's a bad doctor. She scoped me up and down all the way through my guts, and she came in the next morning, says, who told you that this was a spot? You drink? Yeah, I drink beer. I'm not much of a drinker, but I drink, you know. I drink some Guinness, blah, blah, not seriously. Looks like a normal spot. You got a hole in your stomach. I think you have an ulcer. That's all it is. So they loaded me up on the 3-way ulcer, charged me like $1,000 that I didn't have for the drug. One of the worst things they could have possibly done. The next morning, this Japanese doctor comes into my room. My daughter comes in with her little boy, baby, and, you know, I got one doctor telling me I'm going to die any minute. Another doctor telling me there's nothing wrong with me. I'm confused. This Japanese doctor come in, and he was all pissed off at me. He says, what are you doing with this kid in here? I says, the nurse said this was fine. Nothing wrong with you. And he took a fit, and he went psycho on me. I'm like, whoa, dude. I ever see that guy, I'll do the time first. I honestly will do the time first. So, I went home. I collapsed on the bathroom floor. I was out. I don't know how long I was out. I went to the Huntsman Center. I drove down there. I'm like, well, somebody's got to see. They wouldn't see me. They wouldn't see me. They wouldn't. Finally, a doctor said to me, no, we won't talk to you. We won't see you. You need to bring a check for $5,000 in cash before we even talk to you. We'll have someone call you. So they called me and talked to me and just said, money, 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 money. We want more money. We want money, 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 money. They sued me for 5 years for $1,500 for a phone call. I was desperate. Finally, I go back again and tell them, you know, and I'm arguing, fighting. Finally, I got a hold of Vincent Hansen, and they're like, we're gonna biopsy these tumors in you, which they should have never done. They went in and punctured the tumors, got a piece of it. So they're saying now that I got to have my guts cut out. Their only hope is to cut it all out. So I go see this Dr. Vaccaro. I go in, and he shows up the screen, and I'm sucked up. I'm in so much pain. My body's cramping. I mean, it's epic. I've never had pain like this. I went from 170 to 130 pounds by now. I'm losing 6-7 pounds a day. So I go in, and this doctor tells me, oh, no, here's the biopsy. Benign. I'm like, thank you, God, thank you. And he said, oh, no, that's the slip from the stomach. Then he scrolls down, and I can see it just glaring. It was blinking red. Oh, 44.44. I'm like, whoa. He says, it's bad. I only hope I'm going to surgery on you tomorrow. We're going to schedule you. We're going to cut all your guts out, blah, blah. I says, the fuck you are. No, you're not. My uncle was a famous heart surgeon. You know, he told me when I was a boy, because I had a heart murmur, he says, don't let them ever open you unless you're going to die. I'm like, no. Finally, I got in to see Vincent Hansen the next day. He said, thank God you never had that. He was late, you know, but he's a busy dude. And he's like, thank God you never had that surgery. Let's bone marrow biopsy you right now. I said, what about it being nailed to Nuvo? And I had my stock portfolio. I had about $1 million in stock that I'd made just recently in the derivatives market. My Tesla stock, my Apple derivatives, short in silver, is right on YouTube. You can watch it. I turned $3,000 into almost $1 million in 2 years. I threw down my stock portfolio. Quit treating me like I'm broke and poor, blah, 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 blah. No, Kevin. I'm getting to the bottom of this. So the San Diegos were crawled up on my hip, and if you've ever had a bone marrow biopsy, that's the only way they tell, and they're vicious. She dug in there. Go home. I'm going to call you. I was at my daughter's house. My daughter from New York flew in. The next day, he says, it's going to take 2 days to get to the bottom of this. Now I know that he fought and argued with Silverman, who had biopsied it, the original one, and got it wrong. They put it in the wrong dish. You know, this great freaking pathologist had it dead wrong. I found a YouTube video on the internet with 14 views from the doctor at Cedars-Sinai. Said that pathologists, he felt, in the lower right mesentery in men get it wrong more than they get it right. So I told Vincent Hansen, I said, what about this being AML de Nuvo? Leukemia can present tumors. I mean, that's my PhD. Called the next day. His secretary says, go down to the bone marrow transplant at LDS tomorrow morning, check in. Your caseworker is a girl named Greta, LDS East State. I'm like, oh my God, it's leukemia. I know what that is. I just broke down. It's over. My dad died of it. Monica died. I know what it was. East State bone marrow transplant. I know. It's leukemia, just like I thought it was. I'll be dead soon. And I was like, call him back. So I called. We'll have him call back. He's with a patient, blah, 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 blah. Vincent called back. He was very emotional. He said, no, Kevin. I said, no, I'm going to the Mayo Clinic. He said, no, you're not. There's a guy named Fimbo Peterson at LDSC State. He's world class. I've talked to him about your case. They don't take people with markers of 44 ml de Nuvo. He's going to take you. You know, Vincent's an anti-nuker. Fimbo's an anti-nuker. He says, I've known you since you were a boy. You're a fighter. You're vicious. You're tougher as nails. You go in there and prove them wrong. You're going to survive this. You got me? Yes, sir. I mean, I went in on 11-11-11. As you know, my 11-11-11 thesis. They started the chemo that day. It was vicious. It was brutal. I went in and out of comas. It was brutal. The San Onofre shut down. The spirituality of it. The accident at San Onofre happened on the 30th of January 2012. The same day I went in a coma. I don't know how I came out that freaking day. 3 rounds of heavy chemo. Vincent comes into my house, or excuse me, Fimbo Peterson comes in and says, Kevin, I could buy you 2-3 years of life, probably almost guarantee it. Or we can take a chance, you know, and do some different things, you know, with the chemo, blah, blah, blah. It's a long shot, but you might live to be an old man if it works. I think maybe. I've talked to Vincent Hansen. He thinks, yeah, he thinks you can do this. You know, I said, all in. I was quarantined in there a long time, and it was an ugly battle. Got down to 119, you know. But they never restricted my diet, so my bowel was so full. So I had a GI in there, and they're afraid it was pantry. They couldn't get it. It was a nightmare. It almost killed me. The quacks that I saw before, and I saw some quacks, and I mean quacks. They sued me. They viciously went at me. Mike Lee kicked me off Medicaid when I was in the unit after I forked over $1 million. Vicious, vicious. My heart failed. I had open heart surgery. My gallbladder went. Freaking wouldn't touch me. I mean, it's been vicious. My teeth went, but I'm grateful to be alive. There's 44 of us in that unit. I'm the only one left alive, and I want to say this. Only the good die young. And I've never forgot every single one of those people in there, including Marshall Jensen, including Carter Henson, including Nancy Peterson, including all these marquee, famous, incredible, beautiful, amazing people. I've never forgot one of them. I think about them every single day. I pray every day, I meditate every day, and I fight. I don't run for the cure. I fight the causation every day. I made deals in that unit. If I get a second chance, I set goals, you know, to see my children, my grandchildren grow. You know, I've reached almost all my goals. One of the major goals is to make the 10-year mark today. Of course, my doctor says that'll be 11/11/11, the 10-year mark when the chemo goes in you. Light pillar on the mighty Wasatch, over the peak. This acute drought, this acute catastrophe. I've traveled all over the world. I've fought them. I've done everything intense. It's really been an out-of-body experience. I've been so focused. So 3 rounds of chemo, it wasn't working. I wasn't recovering my blood counts. So I decided to walk the entire coast of California. Most doctors says, well, you'll die out there. And I'm like, well, what a good place to die. And I walked, Astro walked too with Rex. Astro died on the trail, but they were on the Pacific Trail. I was walking the coast, sleeping in a sleep bag, no money, no food, no water, no nothing. I don't know how I did it. And I just kept going, documenting the dead tide pools, walking 20, 30 miles a day, my feet hurting, cold, spiritual as it gets. I'm still alive. People coming to me, survived cancer, got this, that, the other thing. I'll be the first one in the country willing without a bone marrow transplant. There's a doctor named Marab, famous doctor who's traveled all over the world. He was one of Steve Jobs' doctors. He come in and says, I'm not supposed to do this, but I'll do this anyway. There's another guy with the same disease. I says, I've heard about him. The nurses have been talking to him. Melanie, my great OPA. Whitney, my personal nurse, all those great nurses. Oh, they saved me. Do you want him to come in and talk to you? He's alive. Yeah. So he came in. He had the same thing. They gutted him in the same place. They opened him. He said he still holds the record for the hottest, longest fever in that hospital. And LDS was under construction at the time, and I told Doc, I'm not going to that shithole. It's under construction. They said, and I said, it's always been under construction. Been under construction since I was a kid. He says, no, there's a guy named from Denmark named Fimbo Peterson Rounds. This guy is the man. If anybody's going to save you, it's going to be him. He personally took in. He came in one day and he reached up under my armpits, and I says, I can feel it. It's in my lymph nodes. Yeah. You see it in his eyes. A few days later, comes in and he says, God, it's gone. I don't feel it in my lymph nodes anymore. I said, yeah, I don't know what you did with the juice, but it worked. It's been a hell of a fight. Brian Morris was sent home to die with the same thing, and he didn't die without a transplant. It came back after 9 years on him. He had a transplant 2 years ago. His son Winston had a half match. Didn't work. They got some new juice. They call it liquid gold. I went in there and sat with him. It worked. He's alive. I don't know how, but it's, you know, all us leukemia videos. It costs us everything. If you're married, goodbye. Relationships, because people are rally around you the first, you know, year while you're sucked up and bald-headed and weigh nothing, but after that, they abandon you. They hate cancer survivors. We're hated people. We have no safety net. We have no nothing. I have a friend blind, It financially destroys you. It wipes you out. You have a full-time job trying to survive this disease. Been a hell of a battle. That cancer picked the wrong motherfucker to fucking fuck with. So my daughter says, "You're a beast." Yeah. The trolls, the scumbags all over the internet that attack me viciously while in critical condition, including Mike Lee, right in hell. Felonies in all 50 states, yet the Department of Energy hired trolls, and we proved it. PR firms, FBI knows this, they don't care. My own neighbor was driving around here spraying a Roundup rig, caught him, while I'm in critical condition. Don't ever let anybody tell you the Mormons will rally around and help you. I'm Abraham Hunsaker IV's grandson himself. Without that Hunsaker line, there is no Mormon church. They never rallied around me. They didn't do shit for me. And I live in a very Mormon community. Don't ever let them tell that Mormons help their own. No, they don't. They're a pyramid scheme just like America is. You're on your own fighting this. Really, it's a lonely battle. And you have to listen to your intuitive mind and just fight viciously. You have to get amped up. I used to get a Nupogen shot in my stomach every day. I had hundreds of Nupogen shots in my stomach. You have to be your own advocate. You have to be your own intensity. I do a meditation every morning. I'm very spiritual. I juice every day. It's been an incredible, hardcore fucking fight. And I mean incredible. Thank you, everybody, who supported this historic work. 10 years. Whew. Who would have believed it? I fight for her, the ecology, Mother Earth. It's been a heartbreaking 10 years to watch the ecology collapse acutely, and the sheep, the Great Salt Lake at normal levels of collapse, the dead tide pools collapse, my salmon work. For Hamlet and Cassandra, they got together, and they had a baby. Oh, cursed spite that I was ever born to set this right. I fight for her, Mother Earth. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Thank you, whatever the gods there be, or God, whoever saved me. Thank you for all of the blessings that you've bestowed on me, my family. Thank you for everything. Thank you for whatever powers are be, God, whoever it is, to save me. The nurses, the doctors, the bad ones, fuck them. They sued me, they viciously attacked me, IHC. It's been hardcore. Kicked off Medicaid. I fought every day. Thank you for the angels that you killed. Marshall Jensen, Carla Jensen, or Carla Hennessy, Nancy Peterson, Judy, Dana, Dwayne, Dean. Thank you, angels. I'll keep doing your work. I'll defend you. You're no match for me. You're no match for me, the nuclear energy crime scumbags. These scumbags that attack me, you're no match for me. For the angels you murder, they watch out over me. I'm just their vehicle. That's all. I'm just their vehicle. That's all I am. It's been an out-of-body experience. The fight goes on. Stay tuned.